What is up, my fellow Chibits? Hopefully all of you are having a very good day today. So the finale is here at last. The final episode of Shingeki no Bahamut Virgin Soul, or aka Rage of Bahamut Virgin Soul. It's the final episode, and this could be the finale of the series. Like, we may never get a Season 3, and that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on your perspective and how this season was handled. Regardless, though, it's over. So, even if you hated it or if you loved it, it's over. And we could or might not get a Season 3. So, let's just go on the fact that we probably won't get one, and let's look at it like that. So, the finale overall, it's good and bad. It's a mix. It's a mixed bag. It has a lot of bad things. It has a lot of good things. Now, just to point out something, I just want to state something to make it very clear. Personally, I think, Genesis's ending over this ending of Virgin Soul. Now, there are some things I like about this ending over Genesis's ending, but I still think overall, in terms of just conclusion and everything, I prefer Genesis over this. And I think partially because of this is thanks to the writing. It's very obvious, since we hit the second half of Virgin Soul, that the writing is kind of done like this, and then that, a little bit of this, and then like, whoop, straight down. And it's been something that's popped up constantly since we've entered the second half of, Season 2. And it's become more and more apparent as the series carried on, especially in these last, 2, 3/4 episodes. It's become obvious that there's been a lot of problems, and this episode tries to handle the problems in the best way possible, but it still was not enough. And if you dislike Chris, the king, you're probably not gonna like this episode. Oh, you're gonna hate this episode. You're gonna hate this series. You're gonna hate this season because of the conclusion. The king survives, and in a lot of ways, I disagree with that. I disagree with it. In other ways, I kind of agree with it, and I'll get into that reason. But in a lot of ways, I disagree with it. Because regardless of how he tried to save the world, stop Bahamut, and, he was like the love interest to Nina, our main female character. Regardless of all of that, he did a lot of heinous stuff. And when you look at the first half, and even what he did in the second half, what he did in this episode does not make up for what he did. You remember that episode when we saw the bodies piled on top of each other, all the demons and stuff? So, that was thanks to him, his orders, and all of these things that's happened in the series is kind of thanks to him. And that doesn't just go away. You can't just sweep all of that darkness under the rug and think it's just gonna go away. It doesn't. I mean, that's not how life works. It's like this. It's a cycle of hatred and vengeance. You don't break that. When you do heinous things to someone, they're going to try to do heinous things to you, or their children is going to try to do heinous things to you. And it's a cycle. It's an endless cycle, and that even happens in our society. It's not just like stuff you would see from manga or anime. That is a real thing. And in this case, what Chris did, what the king did to everyone, or the demons and all that, that doesn't just go away. Nobody's gonna forget that. You don't forget that. Even if you became like a hero that stopped Bahamut and all that, you don't forget everything that the person's done. That does not happen. That's unrealistic. It's completely unrealistic. And he has a happy ending. In some sense, he has a happy ending. Yes, he lost his eyesight, but for what all he's done, that's a very small price to pay for everything. Especially when he gets a happy ending and he's declared a hero and he gets a girl that he loves and all that. He didn't get his punishment. And I feel like that kind of makes me upset. I feel like he should have kicked the bucket. I feel like he should have been gone. Especially with, the ending. But Nina kind of saved him. Now, I do agree with the fact that she wanted to kind of sacrifice herself with him. But it would have been a lot better if they would have both died, I would say. That would have been a lot better in terms of impact. But I just feel like it was kind of like a cop-out. But I don't know. I feel like the writer just didn't know how to handle the character and make him redeem himself for what he has done. And it felt very poor, in my opinion, in terms of writing. Now, let's talk about the good aspect of what I think why this is good. He's a bad guy, and he won. In a lot of ways, I respect that. I like to see bad guys win sometimes. I do. But I don't really like Chris as a villain, because he's not really a good villain. He's not. And he wasn't trying to be a villain, but he was a villain. But you get my point. And I don't really care much about him in terms of just villain status. So it's not that I would like to see a crazy villain win. I respect, bad guy winning, but it felt very realistic in a sense that the bad guy got away with everything. Because that's how our society is. In real life, that happens. It happens. In real life, good people, they don't get good endings. It's how it is. Good people, they tend to get shoved and pushed down the stairs and all that, and the evil people move on up. That is a real thing, and that happens in society. You have it to where the corrupt and evil people, they always win, while the good people, they're just shoved down and they never get anywhere. And in this case, that's kind of what you have going on here. You can look at Chris's victory as a real-life scenario. What happens in real life? Good people don't win, usually, and it's always the villains that tend to win, the evil people, and he won. So, I respect the fact that it tried to be realistic in that sense, but in terms of writing, it was bad. It was. So, anyways, getting into the other part, so, I feel like, in terms of this episode, there was a lot of good things about it in terms of what Bahamut did to the cast. There was a lot of permanent damage to the cast. Like, Kaiser, he's dead and he's a zombie now. To what happened to the king, he's blind. To Nina, she lost her voice. And, all the other characters that were affected. Like, you see Favreau and how he got to finally, let go of his guilt he's felt for a very long time, for all these years after what happened at the end of Genesis. All of these little scenes and what Bahamut did, he left a permanent impact on everyone, the entire cast. At least more of an impact than Genesis. Like, when Bahamut went crazy and all that at the end of Season 1, it did a lot of damage, yes, but it did nowhere near the damage as what it did in this episode. So, in terms of just seeing how everybody's permanently affected by it, I like that. I like the way that was done, showing that nothing is ever going to be the same again after what just happened, and I respect that in terms of writing. That was good writing. That was really good stuff, and so if there ever is a Season 3, these characters are stuck with the damage they got. For instance, Kaiser, he's dead. Like, he's a zombie now, and, Favreau, what's happened to him, to Nina, and the King, and all this. Just all the characters and what's happened to them, there was a lot of things that happened that's going to be permanently there, and that makes me enjoy that. That's one aspect I really like about that, what Bahamut did to everyone. But on another spectrum, I don't like how it just overall was done. Like, it's more of a complaint on the series in general. When you look at the start of, Virgin Soul, it had it to where Muguro, or L, he was the main focus. Like, he was the main focus. Besides Nina, Muguro was, like, the big character that we thought was going to be, like, that in-game character, like, straight up final episode character stop Bahamut. And that's what it appeared to look like when you were watching the first half and even a half of, the second half. It looked like Muguro was going to be very important, but turns out he wasn't important. He got killed off just to initiate everything with, Jeanne d'Arc, getting her power back and stuff, and I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like Muguro's character got wasted. There could have been a lot more potential Muguro. There's a lot of unanswered questions as well when it comes to the character that could have been explained. And it wasn't really explained at all. There was just so many things that just felt very left out. I felt like could have been dealt with a little bit better. In this case, Muguro felt like a character that was going to be used to the end game, but then the writer decided to cop out and was like, nah, I don't want to use this character anymore, and just decided to focus on, like, Chris and Nina and all that. I feel like that's what happened. I feel like, the writer didn't want to use Muguro and wanted to focus more on the love story aspect of the series, and okay, fine, but I don't know, I just feel like Muguro's character is wasted. Straight up wasted. I'm glad that he's permanently dead in a way, because it shows that there is consequence and people can stay dead, but I'm just upset that the character's wasted. I felt like there was just too many scenes that were focused on Muguro as a character, and then he wasn't utilized as a proper character for at least the conclusion. I don't know, that's just me. The character gave a lot of characterization and development for Azazel, Jeanne d'Arc, and all that, and other characters, but even then, though, I just feel like, I don't know, there's just something that doesn't fit right with me, or sit right with me. It's just, I don't know, I feel like the character should have been used for something else besides what was done. Especially for a character that died a cowardly death. I don't know, he should have been used a little bit differently. Anyways, though, I will say that in terms of, like, other scenes, like the finale and stuff, in terms of demons working together, I mean, I guess it's opening up to the possibility that, you know, coexistence and stuff, and it's going to be a lot better for the future. So I wonder what the conflict will be for, if there is a third season. I wonder what the conflict would be. I'm very curious about that. I mean, I don't know. So overall, I feel like Shingeki no Bahamut, Virgin Soul, it was good, but bad. Like, it's half and half. It was definitely nowhere near the level of quality as the first season, but it was still enjoyable. I mean, for conclusion's sake, I'm glad, you know, it was as good as it was. It could have been a lot better, but yeah. So, tell me your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about Shingeki no Bahamut's final episode? Do you think we'll ever get a Season 3? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, please leave a like, and if you like my content, please subscribe, and if you want to support me for I can continue to focus on YouTube, please go into the description and support me on Patreon. It helps me out a lot. So I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.